Hey guys, we're about to go live to discuss South Park Season 20 finale. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I'm never gonna give you
Oh yeah.
never gonna let
Oh, I like this. I like
gonna
this.
Can we just rickroll everybody for like
This is
the
too
after
good to
show
even be a
and
rib.
then-
Yeah. You know what? That would be kind of funny. Let's just let it roll.
Yeah.
Pun
Let's do
intended.
that. I know I've never heard the slowed down version of this, but I am loving it.
I am this close to downloading it on iTunes right now.
Yes. So guys, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jessie Zahner. You can find me on all social media at Athletic, and we are about to discuss the finale of South Park Season 20. And my
Episode
co-host,
10. Hey, everybody. I'm Christy Olson, and you guys can always reach out to me at Christy Reports.
yes. So this is an interesting episode because I know when we talked last week, we made some predictions about what we thought was going to happen this week.
We knew there wasn't enough time left to answer all our questions.
Right.
And we were concerned.
Yeah.
And our concern was justified.
And I think that's something that we've been talking about for weeks, but I just feel like after this episode, we have so many questions unanswered about a lot of things, mainly the member berries.
Yeah. Member
Do you,
berries?
I know. Do you member the member berries? Seriously.
Do Trey and Matt member berries?
I know. It's so funny because they played such a big role in this season at the beginning, and then we don't see them for a while, and then we catch them at the end just for like a glimpse.
I know there's a lot of speculation that the entire plan for like the whole last half of the season had to change because of
Right.
the election, but the idea that they just decided to not wrap that up and just do away with it, or maybe we did see a little glimmer at the end, so maybe it's not over entirely, but we can look at the indication from the title of this episode. What
Right.
is it? The serialized
The end of serialization as
we know it. Yes. So
Yes.
maybe we're not going to get a continuation of any of these storylines, and there's not going to be a continuing storyline next season. I mean,
Yeah.
are the member berries going to get their moment?
I don't know. I hope so. I loved the member berries, and I thought everybody was loving the member berries because it's like I would go to the gym, I would go to work, and everybody would be membering everything. So I was shocked when we didn't see them in the last couple episodes. So what do you think if they are done with those storylines over a season? Do you think that you want it to go back to that, or are you going to miss the storyline?
No, I really, really preferred when there was not
No
a
storyline?
serialized storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off last season too, although last season I would have give a little better rating than this one.
Yeah.
Not that either one were terrible at all. Both had their moments for sure, and there were some episodes this season that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
But I kind of like to start fresh. And
Right.
with a show like this, it almost seems like trying too hard or being too I don't want to say like self-righteous, but it's like we don't need South Park to have this grand arc of like social commentary throughout the season. No, just
Right.
give us like weird, gross, funny, stupid stuff. Kill everybody off and then they're all alive the next episode. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back. Let's come back to what we thought of season 20. But let's first go through what we saw in episode 10, the
do it.
finale. So let's start with Eric and Heidi, because Eric has come to this realization that things with Heidi just aren't as great as they seemed on the surface. He's starting to realize that girls are only smart, but they're not funny. And there's, what does he say? He's like, there's only one reason women need us. He tells Elon Musk, there's only one reason women need us, for semen and for jokes. And he's like,
Count them one.
Yeah.
One reason.
he's like, that's two reasons. And he's like, yeah, but they go hand in hand. So he finds out all this time he's been trying to get Heidi to figure out this equation so that they can get to Mars. And she finally has figured it out. And he's trying to go around to the engineers and tell them, we don't want to go to Mars, because I realized once you get to Mars, it's going to look all nice and it's going to be really fun and you're going to be really happy. But then when you look around, it's all women. And you ask yourself, where are the men? And here they're trapped underground because men are useless and women don't need them anymore, except for semen and jokes.
which is entirely plausible. However, did I miss something where he got this from, or he just completely made this up in his head and he acknowledged that, right?
So what he did just make this up in his head, but I think he had vision. He's a visionary now.
Right, that's
He
right.
had visions when he was coming to SpaceX of what Mars would be like, but it wasn't until he brought Heidi there and she started figuring it all out that he figured it out as well. So that's the struggle that he's dealing with right now. Aside from that, Kyle and Ike have, as we saw,
The shining star in this whole storyline.
yes, and I actually think it was the best part of the show too. Was
Agreed.
Kyle and Ike had locked their mom in the pantry last episode, and she's still locked in this episode, which is great. And
She's mad.
oh yeah, she's really mad. Well, it's so funny because the episode with Kyle starts out as him on the computer, exactly like Gerald used to be when he was trolling.
Same mannerisms, the whole thing.
Right, the music, everything, and he has all of his buddies online, and he's getting them all to, give him, I guess, feed him lines on what would piss people off. Like Beyonce's like
Is
a
that
Taylor Swift ripoff or
knockoff?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she was only around 10 years before Taylor. See, it makes me angry.
Exactly.
That was cute because it's like, oh, he can't even come up with stuff that's that terrible on his own. That's so sweet.
In the meantime,
his heart.
Ike, yeah, exactly. In the meantime, Ike is like cold-blooded killer online. He is feeding these lines to Kyle, and Kyle's like, we're gonna have to,
Wash your mouth out.
yeah, after all of this. So while him and Ike are trolling, his mom gets out, and she is a mess. She's had it. Yeah, she is.
Perfect. She was like sweating. She
was
had
a
like
mess. Yeah.
stains. I mean,
Her hair was a mess. Yeah, she had it with those guys. So she comes in the room and she sees them online, and she's like, you guys are grounded from the computer for the rest of your life. But Kyle has to save his family. So him and Ike bail by jumping out the window.
That was a good moment.
Yeah.
Parachuting.
So in the meantime, Gerald is still at Troll Trace, and we see him. He's locked in the conference room. And the trolls somehow get on the TV, and they're talking to him, and they want him to go and try to pull Troll Trace offline because it's about to go live.
Somebody's got to do something.
Yeah, so I don't understand how they're talking to him.
No.
Like, how did they get out of...
You know what? If I'm being entirely honest, I have to say that my lack of being super excited about this season just kind of turns into a bit of disinterest, and I have a hard time recalling the details. Like, I'm thinking of when I'm really into a show, I'm like, oh yeah, this happened and this happened and this happened. And with this, it's like I can't even remember because I don't think I really care that much.
Yeah, somehow
That's
they
terrible.
got out of their chairs, and they're talking to him through the TV, and
Was that a Rickroll or something last episode too,
Yeah.
right?
Last episode, when
How did they get out of
they
that?
unveiled the Rickroll, they opened up a screen that connected the two rooms together with the trolls and the engineers.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You remember? And then
Remember? Sorry.
Yeah. No, thank you. So they're talking to him, and they want him to get out of the conference room and basically go stop Troll Trace from going live.
Mm-hmm. Did we think he could do it? I had faith in him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had faith in him as well. I mean, he's the best troll around. He's not going to let this go because he doesn't want his wife to find out and
He's
his life to be ruined and everybody to come for him after he has been trolling everybody online. So Troll Trace ends up going live for maybe about 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, maybe.
Dun, dun, dun.
So after Kyle and Ike jump out the window, Mom is on a terror. She has to find them. She's, searching for them, and she finds herself at this house, and the woman is telling her that Troll Trace is live, and she's all upset because she was reading all the sites that her husband was on.
Poor Laura.
Yeah.
He was on not one but three. What is it? Dating but married, or looking but married?
It's like
whatever.
that big scandal that happened.
The Ashley Madison
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
exactly. Which was insane because there were so many weird things that happen with like
There were like
celebrities.
celebrities on it. Yeah.
Like that one guy from
There was a housewife husband from what I remember, or a couple of them.
it was the guy from 20 Kids and Counting or 19 Kids and Counting or whatever. Do you remember that big scandal?
Yes.
Yeah, and he had like that kid went through some shit. But anyway, so it's like that she saw that he was on all this stuff. So what is her name? Sheila?
Laura.
Which
It was Laura, wasn't it?
And what is Kyle's mom's name? Sheila, I think.
Yes, it's Sheila.
Okay, Sheila sits down, and I expected her to type in Gerald's name,
Oh, for sure.
but she types in Ike.
Well, Ike was, Gerald was never a question to her. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
I guess
was
you're
always
right.
honest. But
Yeah.
it was always Ike that was getting in trouble.
So because she, I guess, knew that he was watching porn with people peeing on each other or something.
that's
Remember
right,
that?
yeah.
That was his excuse. So yeah, you're right. So she had no reason to
suspect him.
suspect Gerald, and she later says, oh, I have to respect his privacy.
Yeah, and she definitely seems like one of those moms who's a mom first and a wife second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Like
for
one of those
sure.
just crazy hardcore moms.
Yeah, and she was not having it with Ike and Kyle, so she looks up Ike, and it kind of clears his name because she realizes that his online record's clean.
He's just emailing and Googling.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
So she is, she's like, oh my gosh, I have to go find them, and I'm so sorry. And she starts to leave, and Laura's like, aren't you going to look up Gerald? And so she's like,
This
no.
woman is miserable and she wants Sheila to be miserable too.
I know. And that's how they get you. So right at the end, towards the end, we see her starting to look up Gerald's name. And we'll get to what happens then. Aside from that, President Garrison is basically useless. He has no idea what's going on. He's making the stank face. People are telling him what's happening, and he's not really sure. At one point, he goes and gives Kyle a pep talk to keep trolling online because it's working. But he has no idea what's going on, and it's pure chaos where he's at. There's a man running around on fire, and he's just President Garrison.
As expected,
Yep,
right?
that's where we're at.
There's that social commentary.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now, guys. So, good luck. And then,
I love that. Good luck, America.
good luck. So that's where we're at.
Love Athletic.
Yes. But basically, how it all ends is that. So Gerald is confronted.
Yes,
Well,
explain it to me, girl.
Yeah. Actually, I might need you to explain it. Gerald basically Gerald gets out of the conference room by pressing 9, which was the code. It was really tough. And he gets up there, he pulls the first lever, and I think he has to pull one more, and then it will shut everything down. So as he's going to get the second one, the founder of Troll Trace comes out, and they go kind of back and forth about the trolling and how it's funny if Gerald's doing it, but it's not funny if this guy's doing it on a bigger scale. Which kind of has a lot to do with America right now, I guess. And how we troll people online, and how now we have a troll as the president, and we don't think... Actually, that's kind of trolling me. Because remember how I was telling you I sometimes troll people on Twitter?
Yes.
And now
you
I don't like that we have a troll as our president. And so...
Are you afraid that he's going to troll you?
So it's funny when I do it online, but it's just not funny when he does it.
I see what you're
You know
saying.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's totally my situation. I'm basically Gerald. So they...
You're going to go home and Photoshop some D's in people's mouths?
Exactly. So...
You seem like the type, girl.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I don't know how to do that, but... So, in the end, he kicks him in the balls and throws him over the edge, and he shuts everything down. SpaceX blows up in the meantime, and Troll Trace, as soon as she presses enter on Gerald's name, it shuts down.
Done.
So Gerald, congratulations, he accomplished his mission.
He broke the internet, just
Yeah.
like Kim Kardashian.
I know. He did break the internet.
Do you think that's what gave them the idea for this? Because I'm thinking around the time that they would have been like brainstorming. That was in the summer. I feel like, when that photo shoot came out.
Yeah.
That would have been around the time that they were like brainstorming for the
Maybe.
season and probably gearing up. Like they were like, break the internet.
Yeah, we need to break the
We need
internet.
to break the internet in season 20.
That's
of
a
South
good
Park.
thought.
And also the idea that they made Gerald look like a troll this episode, like physically.
Oh, he
with the
he
costume.
did look like a
yeah.
troll when he dressed up in their uniform. Yes, he looked like a troll.
And I think it's more of the guys hanging around and going, "Hey, Joe kind of looks like a troll. What if he were a troll?" I got 10 episodes ready.
I love that. And then we'll have to change our plan for the next 10. Wait, this was only 10. That's right. Oh, remember when there used to be like 18 episodes in a season? And they would do
Yeah, I know.
two halves?
I know. So speaking
Sorry,
of member,
anyway.
no. So speaking of member, we do see the member berries at the end. Mm-hmm. They're just sitting in the White House, like all lined up.
They're still an army, apparently. And so should still be feared or still have some power. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could, even if they don't do a continuing storyline next year, I wouldn't mind seeing the member berries pop up. I mean, they could be like a Towley or someone who comes around every
Oh my
once in
God,
a
I
while.
love Tally.
I know,
Yeah.
I do too. And with Christmas time coming up, we haven't had a proper South Park Christmas episode in so
know.
many seasons. Like,
Right.
Well, I mean, there was
Maybe-
the Cosby one, but that's not.
oh yeah, wasn't exactly warm and cheerful.
So the very last thing that happens in this episode, so after Troll Trace is shut down, basically the internet itself is completely deleted. Like everything's gone. There's no history. We can start from scratch. Actually, that sounds pretty good right now. But-
yeah.
I feel like that would be
I've just
really
put
interesting.
So much time into building stuff on the internet.
I know that. I know, sorry. I just think that would be actually really interesting to start the whole internet over again.
I wonder if people, like when people think of that, they think they would do things differently, or
That's
they
what I wonder.
think, you know,
Yeah.
the threat of having everything you've done on the internet would make you think twice about it. But
Right.
we all know that's not true.
Right. So the first email that's sent out after the entire internet is destroyed is a dick pic.
A dick pic, and what did he say in it too, right? Oh, and
Oh,
Annie
yeah.
calls him a name. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So the picture and the derogatory term, of
Yeah.
course.
Is the first email to go out. So yeah, that's where we ended.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess I'm disappointed because, like I said before, the member berries were such a big part of this season and they confused me at times. So I wanted to know what that was about and that they kept bringing J.J. Abrams up with that.
Yes.
And I'm like, what the hell are the member berries and are we ever going to see them again?
Who's the villain?
They just like left and like we never heard from them
Well, they
again.
alluded to The Force Awakens a little bit in this episode with the final confrontation between the troll and Gerald.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Reminded
yeah.
of a famous death scene in The Force Awakens.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen, but I know what you're referencing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
So there was a lot of allusions to Force Awakens in this episode. So they've been doing it a little by little throughout the past couple of episodes to kind of keep it in. But I agree, the member berries were just kind of dropped.
Yeah, so the member berries were dropped. And the other thing that I thought was really weird is I know last episode, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, I had said I haven't seen Kenny since the episode in which they took Cartman out to the house to destroy all of his computer, all of his electronics.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, so I was like, all of this time, I'm like, where the hell is Kenny and what is he doing? Because I thought he was behind the scenes doing something.
Wasn't there, something happened with him, didn't it?
Well, he was on
I
the-
can't believe that I can't sit here and think, South Park used to be one of my favorite shows.
Right.
And I'd watch every episode more than once before the new one would come out. And the fact that I'm like, I can't really remember what happened a few episodes ago, it's disappointing to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I haven't seen him, and then he just pops up basically
Something happened- Mark,
online.
Didn't something happen with Kenny? Did they kill him off again or something?
Well,
Am I
he
making that
showed
up because I
for-
wanted
he
something
showed
to
up
happen?
for a tiny bit as one of Kyle's correspondents in this one.
Yeah.
For like, Kyle, Kenny, give me something crappy
Right,
to say.
right.
But in terms of something that happened to him, I'll check the chat real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe I must just be making that up because I want there to be a reason. I want there to be an explanation. I want there to have been like
where
something
the hell
that
was
happened.
Kenny all of this time?
Yeah, no, you're
But
totally right.
But I haven't seen him since that episode, and now all of a sudden he shows up to help Kyle troll. Mm-hmm. So I just was unsure of what that was about or where the hell Kenny was. But this also could have just been their struggle to change the storyline. Well, I don't know that they had a whole storyline planned out, but I think they had ideas of where they wanted to go. And then when Trump won, things had to get changed. That's why you never write something before it happens in real life, because that's happened with other things too. Like when the Red Sox won the World Series the first time in 86 years, they were filming Fever Pitch, and it was a story about this guy. Have you ever seen this movie? About this guy who likes baseball.
I remember it had
He's
some pretty big stars in it, right?
yeah, and he is a Red Sox fan, and it was supposed to end with the Red Sox losing, because that's what the Red Sox always do. And then they ended up winning the World Series, so then they had to change the end. So,
Good thing I don't watch sports.
yeah.
I would have been
So-
incredibly disappointed by that.
I found an interesting theory about Kenny. The fact that this season was about social media and phones and tablets, and Kenny's family's poor.
You're
so
right.
he can't really
Yeah, but
afford that sort of stuff.
But at the same time, he's
That's true.
trolling. He was trolling online at the end, right?
Fair. He could have
Maybe
been
he's
at a
at the
public
library.
Yeah. Could
Yeah.
have been at a library.
So he has little access to electronics.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And they're still living in Soda, so
Yeah.
or maybe just chalk it up to being Mysterion. Maybe he was just too busy being Mysterion and trying to save the day.
Forgot about Soda Sopa too, but then maybe that's where the member berries are.
Yeah. The other thing that I really missed this season was, as everybody probably knows by now, Randy. Because I love Randy, and he's like, he's so funny. And
You like really love
I
Randy.
love Randy. Like
No, I'm
he's
on
like
board.
he's
I'm
like
with
the
you.
light in my life for South Park, and like he just had such a little role. Like every time he was doing something, I was like, yes, come on, bring Randy back out. And last season was so much about him
Oh yeah.
that this season, like, I was hoping Gerald would turn into somebody like Randy, like as funny and as good as Randy, but
Would have been interesting.
you just can't compare to Randy. Oh. So, yeah. So that's
It's your main complaint.
that's the main complaint for season 20 for me. Although I do think that there were some really funny episodes that I liked along the way. I'm not thrilled about this finale. I just didn't, it just didn't clear everything up, and it just,
No, and historically, there have been a lot of fans who can say, hey, maybe the finales haven't always been the best episode of the season.
right, right.
But the thing is, we put our expectations up really high for
We
South
did,
Park.
and I
And
really,
rightfully so.
yeah, and I thought like the member berries were gonna have a huge part of this last episode, and I really thought that they were just gonna do something crazy, have a play a huge part of this, or South Park was just gonna like rickroll us again at the end and just end like that, something funny and out there. But this is what we got.
They could have been real lazy and just rickrolled the entire episode.
They should
for
just
22
They
minutes.
should have just like started with like 5 minutes of whatever and then just rickrolled us. And,
Think of like the news headlines that would make.
Yeah.
Everybody would be talking about South Park again.
So, anything else that you want to add your thoughts on season 20 of South Park?
I mean, I think, Sheila gave it life
She did.
for sure in lieu of Randy and his antics. That could be appreciated. I like Heidi,
Yes, I love Heidi.
and I'm wondering if she'll continue to be someone that we see a lot or no. I loved Wendy though too. I'd like to get Wendy back in that. Like if we need these girl power,
Right. Well, and I think that's something about South Park. They haven't had like a dominant like female role. Like they just haven't had like, I don't know if they haven't had success with it or they just haven't done it. But Wendy is to me probably one of the biggest females that they've had in the show. And then she didn't play a big part in this season, really. Heidi was it.
Right. She's been used. Wendy was used a lot more in every other season. Now that you say it, I kind of wasn't even.
But they broke up, so
That's
she's
true.
done with the boys. So
That happens a lot in Hollywood.
yeah. so
You gotta write one person off
Yeah.
the show when the couple breaks up. That's why they say
Yeah.
don't date your co-stars, Wendy.
So, I don't know what we're going to see for season 21. Is there going to be a
Oh
season
my gosh.
21?
Even just when you say the word season 21, I'm like, dang.
I know.
What an accomplishment that is to take a show to 21 seasons. It's
crazy,
unbelievable.
especially
Yeah.
a show like this where the writing is so well done, like time after time. Even though I'm not a huge fan of this episode specifically, it's still like the writing in each of these episodes is so good. And to go for 20 seasons, you have to be, obviously very talented and creative.
Right.
But-
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it reminds you that this is why they had to do something like having continuing storylines last couple seasons, because they got to do something different.
Right.
They're probably just bored. It's probably to entertain them. They probably don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did come to a realization today that this episode is now speaking to me about my trolling. And my trolling's funny, but Trump's is not, so I just need to tone it down a notch.
I'm going to go look at your Twitter now, girl.
It's so funny because if I'm going on my Twitter, there's probably not much trolling on there right now anyways, but I
No.
just feel like I'm a troll on there.
You're a troll on the inside?
Yes, exactly. But I do wonder about Heidi too, because if we look to season 21, maybe we don't have the storylines, so everything just picks up somewhere completely different and we don't think about any of this. But then, like, do we lose Heidi? Or then I was thinking, what if her and Cartman break up and then she goes back and then she's with all the girls and they're still against the boys?
Because we never got that whole Civil War thing between the girls and the boys.
Right.
And that could easily re-blow up if Heidi and Cartman...
Right. Which is...
Can you imagine them as foes?
No, I can't. Because
That could
Heidi's
be
so
good.
nice. Yeah, so that's the thing. She's so nice, but I do think that could be really good because she's always been honest with him. And she's always asking, have you been honest with me? So who knows? So what do you think we'll see in season 20?
Well, gosh, now that we've talked it out, I guess there are a few things that can pop back up. If we get Heidi, I'm really wondering, will Garrison still be the president and that whole thing?
Right.
Maybe they'll back off of it entirely. I don't know.
Do you think we'll see the member berries?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
good.
They can't. They just can't not do it.
Right.
And there's too much open-endedness that I feel like they could fit them in easily, right? Because we don't have any answers and because we
Right.
still don't know what their motive was or why they were created or any of that. That could work in such an unexpected way. I feel like there's no way that they won't pop up.
Okay. Anything?
Fingers crossed.
Yes, I know exactly. Is there anything else that you can think of that you'd want to see out of season 21?
I'm really curious about Bad Ike.
Yes,
I mean,
love Ike.
he has these moments every season where you're like, Ike's gonna be a bad boy.
Right.
So if we could explore that, maybe he gets a girlfriend. I know he's had some exploits in the past that have proven to be quite hilarious.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I could see like naughty, foul-mouthed Ike, who's been sort of who thrives on this bad behavior that his father encouraged him into, and now maybe
that'd be
maybe
so funny.
he's the villain.
Yeah.
Or he's the adversary.
What if Ike gets 3 other friends to act as
Oh,
a new group of 4 kids, and the
that
original
would
4
be so cute.
get older?
Yeah, they get,
Yeah,
well, they get a
they're
little bit
like-
older, and they realize, wow, we've had a bad, and they like sort of come to terms with all of their behavior over the past 20 seasons, and we get Kenny's little sister in there too. Like,
Oh, yes.
maybe a little bit of more family in
That
there.
would be so cute.
Could be interesting. Could be cute.
And it would be fun to have kind of an intergender group.
Oh,
You
that
know,
would be,
to have
yeah,
them
that
be
would
like
great.
super young again and to have Kenny's sister there.
Yeah.
I like that idea, Mark.
That's a really good
it.
idea.
Yes.
It's so sad because as I've been saying, this last episode really didn't, solidify some of the things that I've been wondering about. So if we really go back to episodes that are just that aren't continuous, I guess we're never going to know what happens with Sheila and Gerald and Ike and Kyle, how they make up, what happens with the member berries, as I keep mentioning, and, what happens with the trolls that are still in Denmark at Troll Trace. I guess we'll just never know.
They could give us these just little blurbs. I mean, the new season could open with Ike and Kyle still being grounded, and that could be all. It could just be wow, well, we're still grounded, and that could be all you ever get, but they have to, right? I keep talking myself into that we're gonna get these answers.
Yeah. But I
I
don't
don't
think
know if
we're
it's gonna happen.
So I'm just going to make up some answers in my head tonight before I go to bed.
You're gonna
and-
rewrite it a little
And
bit.
then I'll wake up tomorrow and be like, okay, I can go on with life because I know exactly what's going on with South Park.
Love it.
Anything else that you want to add tonight for the South Park finale?
No, the game is supposed to be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
So I forget the name now, but it's a fancy
The
play on
fractured
words.
butthole.
That's
Oh,
what it is.
yes. I know
Yeah.
we saw the commercials.
Supposed to be
Yeah.
good. So that'll tide some fans over in the meantime.
Yes.
Until next season.
Exactly. All right. Well, anything else other than that?
I don't think so, man. I hate to not be super gung-ho and be like, oh, that was awesome and this was great and all this, but you know what? It does leave us, obviously, we're very curious about season 21.
Right.
And that's the goal, is to get people to
Yes.
keep watching, and we will be doing that, so.
Yes. So thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We had an awesome time with South Park this season.
Shout out to Phil Svitek and Stephen Lemieux.
I know.
Who haven't been able to join us the last couple of weeks, but make sure you reach out to them at PD Svitek and at Stephen Lemieux on Twitter, and they'll want to know what you all thought about this
Right.
episode tonight.
Exactly.
So shout out to the boys.
Yes, and thank them so much because they had so many theories about things, and I just loved hearing their takes on everything throughout the season. So it was great. So until next time, guys, you can find me, Jessie Zahner, online at Athletic, and tell everybody where they can find you.
And you guys can always hit me up at Christy Reports. Thank you so much for watching. It was a fun season breaking it down.
Yes.
We had a good
And-
time.
Yes. So we will see you guys later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.